All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Next Goal Wins podcast. Unfortunately, today's episode is not a pretty number. We're only at 41. I feel like we're starting over. 40 was a good one, and now we're at 41.
So that's why it took us about 4 hours for you to get in the right mindset to do this.
You got to admit.
No.
I thought we were going to stop at 40.
Well,
And just call it.
I never thought we were
I was
going
going
to
to
get to
skip
40.
41 through 49, name this one 50, so that it looks like we hit 50, and then it'd be a much more,
So then
a
once
better
it's-
vibe.
So when it's 51, you're like,
Like nobody watches the episode number 41. Have you ever watched episode number 41 of a podcast?
I kind of go by the title, not really
No,
by the
you
number.
haven't.
So
That's the right answer. Anyway, I'm here with the co-hosts. I got my boy Georgie,
hi,
Darwin Nunez from Wish.com.
Darren News from
He just accepts it at this point. And then I got Joe D, Statsman. Give us an update.
I think it's all over.
Joe's giving up. Joe's giving up.
Joe's
We've all
depressed.
given up.
Joe. Why are you depressed, man?
It's late, man. It's late. It's late on a Sunday night. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. It's past my bedtime. But, as they say, the show must go on. The
Is that
show
what they say?
must.
I mean, we can cancel the
Go
show.
on.
We can stop the show at any point.
No.
The show
no.
doesn't have to go on.
Lupe Fiasco
Joe
would be
has inspired
disappointed.
me today. I
Yeah,
like
the
that.
show goes on.
Anyways, we got a little bit of Premier League action for the most part because the Premier League is back. Let's go through the pre-cap. The Prem Roundup. Got a couple of games to talk about. The Manchester Derby. Liverpool, last-minute winner.
Mm-hmm.
Georgie's favorite player, of course. Couple of other games. And then the big one today is the Real Madrid versus Valencia controversy, the referee controversy that ended up, not causing them to tie, but a lot of controversy. So we'll go over that in a little bit. The only thing I got so far in the VAR segment for today is that there's no blue cards anymore. Infantino from FIFA said we will not have blue cards,
We'll give a red card to the blue card.
giving a red card to the blue card. So we'll talk about whether that's good or not. And then the wild card segment, we'll debate who is the best player right now in the Premier League. That's an interesting one. So we'll see, because there's some good players, some players in top form right now. But as we typically give the first 35 minutes to Liverpool, Georges, get your rant over right now, so that we can move on to the actual good
No,
parts
I'm
of the
not
podcast.
warmed up yet. Start with something else. And then
All right, well, let's talk about the Manchester Derby then.
No, yeah, okay.
So Manchester City beats Manchester United 3-1. First of all, who watched it? Did you watch it?
I had the kids, so I had it on, but I wouldn't say I watched it, sat down and watched
you
the whole
didn't
thing,
watch
but then watched the highlights.
No, the reason why I didn't watch it,
I watched the whole first half.
I was watching Bayer Leverkusen, and then I saw that United scored, and I was on Twitter, obviously following along, but without watching it. So then in my head, I was like, whoa, I'm not watching. Maybe this is the moment I've been waiting for. I don't have to watch it, and City would possibly drop points.
You guys are killing me.
And that didn't work out. So
Let's just start a podcast about things that we don't watch, guys.
listen, I watch everything else besides that.
Listen, I'm going to start because I watched it.
Mhm.
I watched the whole game. All right, my eyes glued to the television.
Mhm.
It was a very good game. It was actually very entertaining because it was back and forth the whole time. Which surprisingly, although Manchester City had more possession, Manchester United did get them on the counterattack a couple times. Two of the goals in that game were really good goals. Rashford, obviously, screamer. And then Phil Foden scored a really good goal. And Phil Foden, which I think Phil Foden was probably the player of the match. Just basically won the game for Manchester City. A couple things that I find interesting. I have not analyzed Pep's tactics as much recently. I just found it funny that I'm watching them build out and I see Stones as literally like an 8. He's playing in the center mid. So I'm looking, I'm like, where's the other center back? And then I look around the field and John Stones is halfway up the field. But couple things. One, they do that really well. So they get an extra guy in the midfield. And then the rotation between the wide players is so good. It's automatic, completely automatic at this point. Doku starts out wide. When Manchester City gets to a certain part of the field, then he goes into the box. When it's a dangerous crossing opportunity or something like that, he gets into the box. Otherwise, he pops back out wide. But the moment the ball goes backwards a little bit and they're not so high up, somebody always stays out wide. And then when that person passes the ball or whatever, they make a movement inside, somebody else pops out wide. So, in simple terms, they put an extra guy in the midfield, which gives them an advantage. But then they always have someone super wide on both sides. So, that allows them to play through the middle, switch the ball, get it into a wide area, and then they can either cross it into the box into Holland, or they can play it to the top of the box where there's an extra midfielder who can have a shot. So that's one of the reasons why Manchester City pins Manchester United back so much. The issue is obviously you have a couple less guys defensively. So Manchester United, there was a couple really good counterattacks that they had. The goal that they scored actually came from Onana getting the ball and just pinging it all the way out to Rashford. Or sorry, not Rashford, pinging it all the way out to Bruno Fernandes, holds it, plays it back to Rashford. But then there was a couple of other ones where Rashford could have gotten in behind. And then I think one of the things that bails Manchester City out is the fact that they have players like Kyle Walker. So, like, unless you have the fastest player in the world, even if Kyle Walker's out of position or one of the other center backs is out of position, Kyle Walker just comes back and saves the day anyway.
Unless he just waves his arm for offside.
I was upset about that, yes. He just stood on the first goal. But overall, Manchester City dominant. Manchester United did well at the beginning. The interesting part about it was that it was close to, I don't think it was exactly, but it was around a decade. So 10 years since the last time that Manchester United lost a game after leading at half, which is surprising considering how up and down they've been,
Yep.
that's an actual stat. But Manchester City broke it first time in 10 years. All right. Now give me your thoughts, guys.
I got excited to start when United went up. However, just the flow of the game always felt like City was going to find a way to pull it out. They continued to get chances. Yeah, United had a few chances on the counterattack, but I mean, outside of Rashford's wonder goal, it's not like they missed a bunch of sitters, where on the flip side of that, you had Holland, who missed a few easy chances, and there were a few other chances for City, I think, to put the game to get some goals earlier. But it was watching the scoreline and seeing United go up, I thought that there was a great chance that City was going to drop points, but once Foden's first goal went in, I think at that point most people knew the second goal is inevitable. Maybe they'll find a third or a fourth. But it was interesting. I guess the thing that stood out to me, it was 1-1, and then Ten Hag makes the sub to take off Johnny Evans and make a center backs change. And then obviously the goals happened after that, which I thought was an odd time to make a center back change when you're in a 1-1 game. And I think he made it in the 60th minute or so, 70th minute, somewhere in that time frame. That was like the one thing that I found odd. But it was also, I guess, somewhat surprising to me that City played so well and De Bruyne didn't have a great game and Doku didn't have a great game either. But Phil Foden, I thought, played out of this world.
Well, the one thing we know about Man City is that they're very vulnerable on the counter. So, and also, even defensively overall, like you said, they put numbers forward. However, if you're a team that's very disciplined in terms of how you defend, and then you're actually really good on the ball and then able to counter, that's why I think Arsenal is so, like, it's a perfect match for Arsenal against Man City. Because Man City tries to do the same thing against what they did today, how they usually play. And then you have Martinelli, Saka, or whoever else comes on for Arsenal with that pace and behind, you're always going to get caught. And I think that's the thing. I know Man United were up 1-0, and I didn't watch it because I was hoping that I had some influence over that. But the thing that stood out was, like, when I was following along on Twitter, and everybody kept saying in the second half, Man City just completely, they pinned Man United back, but also Man United didn't even try to, like, I guess I shouldn't say try, but in a way, we know how vulnerable City are defensively. Mm-hmm. So if you're a team that, let's say it's 1-1 or you're winning 1-0, you know that you can't just sit back. Like, it's never.
They're going to score a goal or two.
It's sooner or later, if you just completely park the bus, Man City are going to find a way to get through. So if I'm a team that's winning 1-0, you already know Man City are going to put extra numbers up just because they're losing, and it's the second half. So why not take a risk and go at them a little bit more? So that was the one thing that, I mean, obviously it's a lot easier said than done because it is Man City, one of the best teams in the world. But like you're Man United, like I know they're not the same Man United as before, but you're supposedly one of the best teams in the world as well. You can't be playing like that in Manchester City, even though you are going through these 5 to 10 year spell of being mediocre or whatever. But just the whole hype of how much money they spent, the coaching changes they've made, and all these things going on, you just have to be better.
I feel like to get points though at the Etihad too, you have to be pretty much close to perfect, and you have to get a little bit lucky. And I don't want to say Rashford's goal was lucky, but you're not going to score a goal like that all the time.
Yeah.
That the big chance that they had was the Ederson tackle on Garnacho that we were talking about a little bit earlier. That Garnacho could have gotten, I think, something out of it if he gets to the ball a little bit quicker, because I still think he could have gotten there and got a touch on it and moved the ball either to the left to push it away from Ederson, and Ederson's flying, he's going to go through him, or just get a little dink on it, because Ederson only got there with like the edge of his cleat. Yeah. So a little dink, it goes over him, he comes through and clears him out, then they have a chance. But you have to score, I think, at least 2 goals against Manchester City, because you're not going to keep them to 1 or less. Yeah. You know, to your point, they're gonna find a way to score
always somehow. And then Amrabat mistake, Haaland goal. So
it's the interesting fact about this is that everyone always gives Pep like shit because he just gets whoever he wants because they can just spend as much money and nobody can spend as much money. In the last decade, which is probably the perfect period to do this study or whatever, Manchester United has actually spent more money on player transfers than Manchester City. Manchester United was like over $1 billion or something like that, and Manchester City was like 900 million. So slightly not that much of a difference, but you would never have assumed that Manchester United has spent more money than Manchester City. Yeah. So,
I mean, what Maguire and Antony alone are like 180
crazy
or whatever. Yeah. That's insane.
I think it's more so about Manchester City pays some good money, but they buy more players. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Manchester United, just the amounts of money that they've spent like on Antony is ridiculous.
It's crazy. And again, I mean, Man United's transfers literally in the past decade. Yeah. I can't even think of like 2 really good transfers that you're like, wow, this is a good
really worked out. Yeah. And the flip side, I can't think of like more than 2 for City that haven't worked. Yeah. Like obviously Calvin Phillips is one. But like even Mahrez, I think they got what they wanted out of him. Laporte, like people even that they've offloaded, they've gotten.
Even
Sterling,
Jack last year was really good, and then this year obviously it's
Sterling was good for a while, and so they at least get a few decent years out of people and don't take huge losses when they sell. If anything, they probably take some gains in some of them.
Yeah.
Ten Hag said that they played against the best team in the world right now, which is Manchester City. He admitted that they were the best in the world and that they have a few injuries. But when you look at the subs that they have and the players on the roster, a few injuries for Manchester United is critical. Because, some of the players that you're subbing on, if you're subbing, again, Antony, we talk shit about Antony, but Antony didn't do it. He had 1 run, and he almost ran out of bounds. And that was it. And then I look over, and it's like Garnacho was already on the bench, and Johnny Evans is there. And I'm like, if you told anybody that Johnny Evans, back in 2013 or 2014 or whatever, the last time that they won the Premier League, was going to still be here in 2024.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy to think.
So, Manchester City, not surprisingly, wins the game, which makes the title race interesting.
Annoying
for a Liverpool fan, sure, because you want Klopp to win with 2 or 3 games in hand. The way Arsenal's been playing is not going to happen. However, there is a big matchup on the horizon, which is Arsenal versus Manchester City. My thoughts: if Arsenal beats Manchester City, I think it goes down to the last day between 3 teams.
Well, Liverpool play Man City next.
Yep.
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah,
Sunday.
Man City has the toughest road over the next month.
I don't know. I still don't think that makes as big of a difference as that. Like for me, this is what I think. Regardless of the Liverpool Manchester City result, It's going to come down to the last day, whether it's between Arsenal. I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be still between 3 teams on the last day, regardless of whatever happens.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal and Man City will decide if there's 3 teams at the end or if there's 2 teams at the end.
So you think Liverpool are in it no matter what?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool's. It's going to come down to the last day.
Even
with
if
Liverpool.
Man City beat Liverpool at Anfield,
Yeah.
Well, because even if they
that's
beat you at Anfield,
they go 2 points ahead, right? And then if you
yeah.
guys win tomorrow, you guys tie us.
Yeah, but again, if they beat you, we go 2 points ahead. But then you have to hope that City will drop points to us. The hard part about it is that City has it all in their hands. So that if they beat Liverpool and they beat Arsenal,
I don't see
that's
that
pretty much it. But you guys are home, right? Because we're away. We're at the Etihad, so
We're at home. I don't know.
it's going to be a fun month, man.
I would really like it as a Premier League fan. I would really like it to come down to the last day between 3 teams.
That would be amazing.
I can't remember the last time that's happened.
I don't think it's ever happened, to be honest. For
I mean,
3
I'm
teams,
I'm sure it's happened, right?
Well, for 3 teams, I don't know. For 2 teams, yeah, obviously.
The Aguero situation
Yeah.
with 2 teams,
But
but
three
3
teams,
teams is crazy.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
That is insane. That would be.
That'll make for an interesting.
Can you imagine
day.
the last day? Everybody
No.
was just like, oh.
We got to figure out.
That'll
when
be a
that
lot.
last day is.
That'll be a
We got to
great
figure that
day.
out. We'll do a live. That day.
I don't think my heart will be able to take
Next-
some of that.
That'd be a
next
good one.
Sunday, 11:45, Liverpool, Manchester
Yeah,
City.
my heart can't take that alone. It's a week away. Can you
Let's go.
imagine?
All right, so moving on now, we can get into you're properly warmed up right
I'm
now.
properly warmed up.
Liverpool win off of a last gasp, the latest ever game winner, if I'm not mistaken. That was the stat. The latest ever game winner for Liverpool in Liverpool's history. Darwin Nunez scoring a header.
Say it again. Who?
Scoring a header. Georgie has kept all the receipts, all the times that I talked about Darwin Nunez being trash.
Listen, Darwin changed his Twitter handle to Darwin99.
What was it before?
Darwin
9.
Nunes something. I don't know. Darwin Nunes 9 or something. He changed it to Darwin
Why 99?
Because 99th minute.
99th minute.
Oh, because of that album. I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that.
So he can change his number to 99 too.
Interesting.
And he's going to become.
You changed your
He
whole.
is going to become the biggest fan of George Chomakov of all time.
You just changed your
Darwin
Twitter
Nunes.
handle because of the minute that you scored the goal in.
Or because him and Georgie have been talking and Georgie told him 99 is the best number.
Listen, out of number 99, Darwin changes his Twitter handle to Darwin99. I mean, some things are just.
All right, give us
aligned.
give us your thoughts already. Let's go.
All right. So first and foremost, this is what it really pissed me off because obviously I'm celebrating the win and everything is great. Then I wake up today, and Sky Sports, BBC, all those big TalkSport, whatever, all the pundits are going absolutely insane about how Liverpool scored. So there's two things about it. The first controversial topic of that is the fact that Liverpool scored 8 minutes and 38 seconds, 39 seconds into at a time. The referee gave a minimum of 8 minutes. That's the first one. So people are upset about the 30 extra seconds. I'll get to that in a second. The second part is that they're pissed off because 2 minutes prior to that, 2 minutes prior to Liverpool scoring that goal, Konate went down. There's a corner kick. Konate went down. One of the Forest players went to kick the ball, so he went and cleats up. I don't know if there was Konate or Konate. You can't tell from the camera angle. However, Konate goes down. They run into each other with Gallagher, and Hudson-Odoi has the ball near the corner, and he's about to take on. I don't know who it was. It doesn't really matter. The referee stops the game because Konate is down, so he stops the game. And then there's also VAR check at the same time. VAR check says no penalty. Everything is good. The ball, instead of Forrest getting the ball back, he gave it to Kelleher. The referee did. So now, supposedly, it's monumental error that led to the goal of Liverpool, which is 2 minutes away. So you have 2 minutes to get the ball back, which Forrest do. They get the ball back, clear out of bounds twice, have a chance to clear it a third time. They don't, and that's the monumental error. So those are the two controversial topics. Now, I got notes because I was pissed off. So, look, we can talk about all that stuff, but none of that shit is actually, matters because that goal was legit. In the time-wise, all the drop ball. You might make a mistake, but you make mistakes during a foul. It doesn't really matter, especially if it's 2 minutes away. It's not like it happened there. But anyway, talking about the time-wise. 92nd minute, there's a corner for Forrest. 92nd minute and 30 seconds. So 30 seconds later, Morgan Gibbs White gets a yellow card for time wasting. That's in the stoppage time already. Finally taken in 92 seconds 44. So 44 seconds it took to take the corner, get a yellow card, and then obviously the referee write it down. Whatever. Takes the corner. Top of the box, there's a foul. 92nd minute and 50 seconds. So 6 seconds later, there's a foul against Szoboszlai. Referee blows the whistle. Danilo, the ball bounces. Danilo takes a touch, kicks into the stands. Yellow card for time wasting. So that's 2 yellow cards for time wasting in the added time already. So we're already there's gonna be added time on top of the added time, obviously, because you get into 2 yellow cards. Then 95th minute and 30 seconds, there's a corner kick for Nottingham Forest. 33 seconds later, they take the corner. There's no yellow card, but 33 seconds to take a corner. Of course, there's going to be added more time. In the same corner, that's when Konate goes down. Forest have the ball by the corner, and the referee blows the whistle. Check for VAR, and then Konate's down, so both kind of align. They check the VAR, nothing happens. 49 seconds it took for that, the VAR check. So no, obviously they're going to add that on top of the added time. So those are already 3 things of adding time. Anyway, so Liverpool score at 98:36. It was 8 minutes at a time. So 36 seconds after the 8 minutes. So that should be clear that there's no, it's not like nothing was done unfairly. 3 yellow cards, VAR check, plenty of time to be added anyway. So 36 seconds passed, it's not a big deal. So that's the first. The second part about the drop ball being given back to Liverpool. I don't know what the rule is actually. So I don't know if it was correctly done or not in terms of whether the ball should have been given back to Forest because it's inside the box. I saw the analysts arguing if it's inside the box, the ball goes straight back to the goalkeeper, and if it's outside the box, it goes to the team that had it. So for argument's sake, let's say that the referee made a mistake. So he made the mistake at 96:49. That's when he made the mistake. You have 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes to play. At 97:25, Forest get the ball and clear it for a throw-in. Just literally kicked it out in Liverpool's half. 98:01, same exact thing. Obviously, that will lead to the goal. At 98:29, Hudson-Odoi has the ball dribbling inside the 18-yard box. Instead of clearing it to end the game, he tries to dribble. McAllister gets it back. Liverpool score. So to tell me that that's a monumental error, and Mark Clattenburg, who's hired by Nottingham Forest to be the referee's, analyst for the team, which I don't know what that even means, said to Sky Sports that he's going to look into it. He's going to talk to his contacts in the Premier League, the referees, see what can be done to figure out if the game can be replayed. Are you fucking kidding me? First of all, we're going to talk about a drop ball that's supposedly every referee and every analyst on Sky Sports is talking about how it's a monumental error and how it's helping Liverpool and the Premier League is helping Liverpool, and that's terrible. I'll tell you a monumental error. A red card for Curtis Jones against Spurs 6-7 months ago. Ever since that red card for Curtis Jones, plenty of tackles have been the same. No red cards for any of those. That's a monumental error in that game.
Man, this man's bringing it back 7 months
I
ago.
am.
He's got more, I bet, too.
In that same game, what happened? Liverpool scored an offside goal.
I don't know. It was 7 months ago.
Yeah. Offside goal. Scored an offside goal that was 1,000% legit. They went to VAR, and what they do?
I don't know.
Miscommunication. That's a monumental error. I'll tell you another one. Last week, Gravenberg dribbling. Caseta comes out of nowhere, destroys his ankle. Not even a foul given. Potentially ankle break, whatever. Not even a foul given. It's close to a red card. We're talking about Curtis Jones' tackle against Spurs. That was a red card. No foul. Not even a foul. That's a monumental error. If you're talking about red card and potentially changing games, that's a monumental error. But we're going to talk about a drop ball, about a mistake of a drop ball that's supposedly that led to Liverpool winning the game. How about the 2 minutes and whatever seconds of all the chances the Forest had, of the possession they had, of keeping the damn ball and clearing it or doing better? Are we going to ignore that, or are we just going to pick and choose the random little specific points of these games that make no sense of being a monumental error? rant over because I'm pissed off. That really pissed me off.
Jeez, man is
Wow.
ranting over something that is like completely
Over a drop ball.
Over
Yeah.
a drop ball.
All over
That's
a
not
drop
a
ball.
man.
I don't even think the Sky Sports people made it that big of a deal. As much of a big deal as
the
you were
whole
making it
entire
out.
country. If you go on Twitter, the whole entire country is going crazy because Liverpool scored 38 seconds after the minimum.
But
of
that
8
one's
minutes.
there's a reason why they say there's a minimum number of
Yeah.
minutes. So it's not like maximum. It's of course if there's any more time wasted in added time, that should get added on to. I mean, if people really want to start complaining, we can go to the World Cup added time.
Yeah.
And we could do those. There's like 20 minutes of added time. Speaking of added time, though, funny thing that happened in a recent game in Liga MX in Mexico. There was 32 minutes of added time.
What?
32 minutes.
Well,
of
I
added
guess
time.
it makes sense. If somebody was really bad injured.
No,
or-
they the lights kept turning off in the stadium. This is the kind of shit that happens in Mexico. It like doesn't happen anywhere else. It's like the lights kept turning off for like several minutes
So
during
it's
the
like,
game.
Play the game.
So they
relax,
play,
play
yeah.
the game, relax, play the game, relax.
But the funny thing about a lot of that is I don't know what happened in that situation, but there was like one game before that, a few months before that, where some team won, the team that was the visiting team. So the home team got mad and turned off the lights of the stadium as soon as like the whistle blew. They just turned off all the lights.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, that one's not that big of a deal because 30 seconds after the additional time is not that big of a deal, especially if there is
2
waste
yellow
of time.
cards for wasting
Yeah,
time.
waste of time.
To me, there's not that big of a deal on the 30 seconds extra, especially because it's not. I mean, Nottingham Forest could have cleared their lines and didn't, and had possession. So I don't have much of an argument there. The drop ball thing does kind of suck, but again, I don't know the rule of it. That rule makes sense if it is in the box that it goes to the goalie. I don't know if it's true or not.
I have no idea. I just
But-
saw it being debated.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but if it is a rule that the referee messed up,
That is
regardless of
unfortunate.
how bad it is, that is one of those things where they can take a look. I can't remember the last time a game's actually been replayed for a referee mistake. I mean,
Yeah,
remember that? What was the one game where the guy was offsides? Earlier in the season.
there's the
No, the
Diaz.
one-
yeah.
What was
This
it?
one, the Liverpool
Yeah.
Tottenham game.
Oh, that's the one that you were talking about.
If they won't,
Sorry,
they
I
won't,
was asleep during the George's
Yeah, he
rant.
fell asleep. It's late. If they won't replay that game,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
there's no chance this game
Yeah.
gets replayed. Because that was like there's audio clips of the referees stating, recording,
That they messed up.
oh man, we messed that one up, and it was clearly a goal.
It's insane.
And
But
yeah.
how can you even that's what I don't understand. How can you even say it's a monumental error? It's not a monumental error. It's like a referee giving a foul or not. Like when it's a soft foul or not. Like
Yeah.
Rashford today, for example. From what I read, supposedly Kyle Walker soft whatever, and then Man City go and score. Like that's not a monumental error.
Yeah.
It's not a clear 1000% foul or not.
No, but they also have to be entertaining when they say these kinds
Yeah.
of things.
they got to
Yeah,
get people
but-
worked up, to talk about it.
They got me
Get people
going.
worked up to
Man,
A couple of other
All right,
results
now
around
on
the league.
to bullet point 2.
Brentford ties Chelsea 2-2 with a bicycle kick goal.
yeah.
There's some nice
That's
goals.
Good goal.
Yeah.
Tottenham 3-1 against Crystal Palace. Big Ange flying under the radar as he slowly tries to creep into the top 4 and
Your
get
favorite
Champions
coach.
League.
Timo Werner scored. A lot of late goals in that game too.
And then Everton, and we missed this, but Everton only 6 points deducted after all. So
And they
or
lost, right? To
was
West
it?
Ham.
So they originally got 10 points deducted,
Mm-hmm.
and then they said they were going to get. I'm confusing myself.
They
now.
gave him 4 points back.
They gave
So they gave him 4
back
points.
when
So yeah.
6
So
points left.
ultimately, only 6 points were deducted.
That's
Which-
a joke.
Another 5 points clear of the gap.
You can't do
That's the part that bothers me. We're
Not
talking
that
about
you
this.
can't do that, but it's like if you whatever you're gonna do
it.
Figure your shit out.
Yep.
And then announce it. Don't be like, 10 points.
Well,
And
I think it was a time.
10 points,
It was
5
a
points,
time
3
thing.
points.
It was a time thing. They were like, we gotta do the point deduction now before the league ends or before the season ends, so that we can apply it. But I mean, it was for past seasons as well. So that's the part that bothers me.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then I was telling you guys earlier is like, if there is an appeal process or the possibility of an appeal process, then you can't deduct them the points until the whole thing is like done. There's no more appeals. There's no more anything that can happen. So clearly they'd say, okay, 10 points, take off the 10 points. And then Everton's like, well, okay, well, we're going to just appeal. And then now they only get, 6 points. So it's like,
how do you even determine that?
I don't know how they determine that. I think
I
maybe
think they just randomly pick numbers and things because it's
Yeah,
like
probably.
we'll put all the teams in a hat on the mess up the rules, and we'll pick the ones out we want to punish.
Yeah.
And we'll pick out random.
I'm sure there's
it
a-
seems so random.
They got to have it written down somewhere where it's like a certain amount of points per infraction or per time that they were guilty per case or whatever. So I'm sure some of them got dropped and they're like, okay, this one doesn't make sense. So then you get 4 points back or whatever. Either way, it screws Luton over because Luton, I feel bad for them, man. So many close games recently against really good teams that if they would have just held on a little bit longer, they would have been in a completely different spot. But they thought that they were doing pretty well because they were a couple points clear of the relegation zone.
Mm-hmm.
And they were starting to play better. And now all of a sudden, boom, you're right back in the relegation zone just because the courts can't figure this shit out.
And mentally, it puts you in a
Yeah.
weird situation. Like you're all excited, happy that you're, above Everton or whatever, and then
you wake up one day and all of a sudden you're in the relegation zone when you didn't play and the team you're playing against didn't play.
yeah, just like a low blow to where you're not really expecting, and you have plans and you're like figuring stuff out, and then
Momentum killer.
So Premier League action is back, which feels like it hasn't been for a while, which is good because now it's starting to heat up. We'll keep monitoring it, see how it goes, but I really do believe the last match day is going to be between 3 teams.
that'll be.
So
I wonder who.
we'll see how it goes.
We'll know for sure, you'd think, in 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Because Liverpool City this week,
Yeah.
and then Arsenal City 2 weeks, I think, after that, or it's the last week of March. So,
after
like,
the
heading into
international
April, those 3 teams have all played each other. So it's race on. Or race over, depending on how it plays out.
Yeah.
Because if City loses both, they're probably out of it. But if they win both, probably puts everyone else. It's
Yeah. I don't want to think about City winning both.
All right, but it'll be good. We'll see how that all goes in the Premier League. Couple of other leagues. First of all, the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich draws. Bayer Leverkusen wins, which means now Leverkusen is 10 points clear at the top on the same amount of games.
Shabby ball.
It's unreal.
I watched this guy on Instagram. I want to shout him out, but he's like a coach who just does like tactical analysis. I think you follow him because it says that you like his stuff or that it says followed by Joe D.
Oh, really?
And he just has a whiteboard and he's got a microphone and he talks about different systems and stuff. And he breaks down. He's been doing a lot of Xabi Alonso's tactics.
Are you talking about the one where he talks about the 5-2-3 on how they defend? Because I watched something similar about
A little
that
bit,
today.
probably that one, and also their build-up, how they always use the 2 pivots to make sure that it's like basically they just bounce it between the 2 pivots till they get it to the other side. And he says they just do that all day. And then basic stuff like they'll put the ball, they'll put the player, one of the center backs will put their foot on the ball, like futsal almost, to initiate pressure. Because with the bottom of their foot, they can move the ball in any direction versus using the inside or the outside, which is just like really basic concepts, but draws pressure and allows them to move it to any which way, and then using the 2 pivots, the 2 6s, to bounce the ball to eventually get it up the field. So like build up play wise, how it was like almost always guaranteed that they're able to build out pretty easily.
Because they're using their pivots as almost as like a bumper to play it, draw on pressure, play it back to the center back. Now I can play it to the other pivot who is in space because we drew the pressure to one.
Like just zigzags literally across the back, just a zigzag. And then just some of the roles of the players a little bit higher up the field and their movements and stuff. But just interesting because every certain amount of years, a new tactic comes out that's really impressive. Like inverted fullback with Manchester City. And everybody's like, oh, inverted fullbacks. We should try inverted fullbacks. And then I remember Conte when he had the back 3 with Chelsea and he won the league. And it was like, oh shit, everybody goes with a back 3 now, where before it was with a back 4. So I wonder how many people are going to study Xabi Alonso's playing style right now and adopt that.
Yeah.
Because for me, I used to play with, when I coached, I used to like playing with 2 6s because defensively it was a little bit better for me, I felt like, because I was like, oh, I have a little bit more coverage than just having one person in that spot. Mm-hmm. Then I realized that defensively, it was better for me to play with just one because the other 2 could press a little bit more. And I'd have a couple players higher up the field because the other teams would just bring 2 players back to go get the ball where I only had 1. And then that's how they would progress the ball. So then I started playing with 1. And so it just changed. Like, obviously, your coaching philosophy changes every now and again. But it's interesting now that we were talking about Granit Xhaka's interview where he said, like, Xabi Alonso he always wants to play with 2 pivots. Like Arteta wants to play with 1, Xabi Alonso wants to play with 2, and he doesn't want to change that. Like that's ingrained in their philosophy and their systems. So just interesting. Interesting.
It is very interesting. And they're with what he's doing. I mean, we talk about it every week. Still unbeaten. It doesn't look like that's going to change between now and the end of the season unless something crazy happens. And that's
You got to think they're going to lose a game though.
No.
at this
All
point.
their
Though,
games are close though.
but the cool part, I guess, the thing for them is like they've won the Bundesliga. Like they haven't won it, but they've won it. Like it would have to be an ultimate letdown for them not
Nosedive.
to. Yeah, they'd have to. So if I'm those players, like they're really bought into now, I would assume going undefeated. Like that is a clear goal that they have from now to the end of the season, especially because they also probably know our coach is going to leave us. So let's how many times do you get to this point in the season when you can truly do something this special? I don't know when's the last time Leverkusen has ever won the Bundesliga.
I'm not sure if they ever have, to be honest.
And they could do it undefeated.
Yeah.
Like that's something, like you get these small pockets of times to do something super special in your life that you asked this question last week, like how good is he at man management? If that was my locker room, that's what I would be talking about a lot. Like just painting that vision on, we can do something that you're going to be able to tell your grandkids about. We dethroned Bayern Munich. Not only did we dethrone them, we also went undefeated all the way through the league and did something crazy special. And I think it's going to change every player on that team's life. Just like it reminds me very similar to like the run with Jose Mourinho with Porto. When you can do something so special with a group of people, it changes the life obviously for the coach. But a lot of those other players are also going to go do something probably pretty big, whether it's Frimpong or Wirtz or whomever. Like we'll probably move to bigger clubs and have bigger opportunities because of this. So we'll see.
Yeah, and
You watched it though.
I did watch it. Yeah, they actually didn't play good today. Like they were away at one of the worst teams in Bundesliga. Obviously, there's no easy games, and they were a man up for most of the game, and they were still. It was like a 1-0. They barely got a goal in the first half, and then Köln had like really good chances where they probably could have won the game, if I'm being honest. But they found a second goal and then ended up winning. But I did see Tuchel might not even make it until the end of the season.
Yeah.
I saw that too, yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
That involving the whole thing just changes. Like, no, we're gonna give him until the end of the season.
Why would you sack him now though?
Because it's like, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're 10 points behind.
If you get bounced from the Champions League, I think they said they're going to sack him. Because if they're still progressing in that, they're like, we'll keep him for stability. But if we lose that too, I see the argument, why not sack him if they lose that too? Because then you give the new coach more time with everybody to figure it out.
Yeah, but you
I
also
like that
put
though, because listen, if he gets fired and they hire somebody, Xavi's like he's not gonna go to Bayern. That's one team out. So
Yeah.
that's the
is
thing though.
interesting. Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's the thing though. What I think would happen if they do fire him, they're gonna give it to the assistant coach until the end of the season. They're not gonna
Hire their new coach,
they're gonna go all in
on Xabi Alonso.
for Alonso. If Alonso says no in the summer, then they're gonna go to plan B. But there's no way they're gonna give somebody else the job now
makes
because
sense.
Alonso's like
Yeah.
still in the running.
You're right, Georgie.
So
You're
that makes
probably
sense.
right.
That makes sense. They find an interim, somebody from the academy, assistant coach, or somebody who they know is just going to come in for a couple, the last month or two or whatever, the couple months. But I just don't like. You're already 10 points behind. Chances are you're not going to win the Champions League. You're going to get bounced from that too.
He did win it with Chelsea.
Yeah, but he won it with Chelsea.
With the worst team.
That was when he just came in though.
Can you imagine that? What if he does win the Champions League? Does he stay?
No.
Honestly,
I think
Like what happens?
what's better, winning the league or winning the Champions League? Honestly,
For them,
winning the Champions League
for
because
them,
they win the
it's
league every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's a good
That'd be
question.
interesting.
I'll tell you what will happen though.
They're gonna get smacked.
if they win the Champions League, he will stay. Like he will purposely say, "Yeah, I'm going to stick around." Whereas like Xavi at Barcelona has said, "No matter what happens, I'm done. Like screw this up, it's done." Tuchel did this whole, "I'm leaving at the end of the season," to make him look better, regardless of what their results were at the end. Because then he's like, "I'm leaving. I'm choosing to leave." But the moment that he's got a chance to like turn things around, he'll be the first one to say, "Oh no, I'll stick around. I'll stick around
stay."
another season."
Yeah.
For sure. Which is kind of annoying because it's kind of like him making himself look better if he gets sacked, but also trying to make himself look better if they win. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I wonder how close you can get to an answer from Xabi Alonso right now. Like if you're Bayern, I'm sure you've found a way to contact his agent and said like, "Hey, do you think there's any chance? Do you think he wants to come? Do you think he doesn't want to come?" So we prepare our options for next season.
I don't know. There's rumors about it every day. I have no idea what to believe. I refuse to believe he's going to Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. At least not now. He will, just not now.
Yeah, he will at some point. Just like it's
Few years.
too easy and just nah.
You know, the interesting thing is that we haven't really talked too much about VAR recently. Like that hasn't been a huge topic of discussion, whereas episode 27 or 28 of our podcast, that was like there was like 3 episodes in a row we were talking about the referees and VAR. So now recently, I mean, you mentioned you went on a whole rant right now about Liverpool. The other one, Real Madrid against Valencia. So first of all, every Real Madrid fan is calling the referee an idiot and that he ruined the game. He didn't ruin the game. Here's my thoughts. So the game is tied 2-2. Real Madrid with the comeback, by the way. 2-2. The ball gets played. It's a corner kick, and it's already past time, I believe. So it's already past the time.
8 minutes 30 seconds.
So yeah, again, I don't know.
Very similar to it's very similar to the Liverpool situation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much time was wasted in the added time.
Yeah.
But it's clear that the referee.
There was a VAR check.
There was a VAR check, and it was
check
pretty
in the
long,
added time
too.
for a penalty for
Valencia.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is this: the referee. It was pretty clear to the referee that he wanted to end it as soon as that ball left the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
So the only mistake I see. So this is what happens: is that ball goes in for a corner kick, gets bounced out, it gets crossed in right as he's about to kick it. The referee starts blowing the 3 whistles for the full time. Ball goes in the air. Jude Bellingham scores the header. And then, but the referee's like, no, game's over. Real Madrid players just go crazy at the referee. All the Valencia players, one of the Valencia players just goes to the referee and makes sure, and then he just walks away because he knows, he's like, all right.
And laughs.
He laughs, but he's like, all right, he told me it's not going to count. The mistake that he made, for me, the biggest mistake that he made, because you can't just keep playing because you think a team might have a chance. Like, unless it's direct threat to a goal, like if it's like a guy on a breakaway or like an open goal or a tap in, you don't ever blow a whistle when a guy's about to tap the ball in. But he should have had the whistle in his mouth the whole time. So as soon as that ball left the box, he could have started blowing. By the time he got the whistle from his hand to his mouth, that's an extra half second or second that allows that ball to get played in or whatever, because he blew it right when he was about to kick it.
Yeah.
However, if you look closely, even when the ball's in the air, it's pretty clear that the game's over. Like when the ball gets kicked, it's pretty clear that the game's over. So there was no issue of like, it was not even close to, oh, it should have counted or VAR should have overturned it. Because that would have been a real bad application.
Can you even overturn it though? Like, because once the final whistle blows, technically.
Yeah, you can't.
Like, even if there was a foul in the build-up or something, that would have been in the time. Can they review it? I don't know.
I think you can, because it happened in the Premier League. It was Man City or Man United like last year, where it was like after the game, the ref blew the whistle, and then they came back, looked at VAR, and they awarded the pen for Man United, and then Bruno scored. That was one of the times.
Yeah, but it's different.
It's different because it's not a pen. It's not like it's a. What would that even be classified as?
Well, I don't know, but this happened to us at Liquid Football last season. We talked about it on the podcast. Remember, we talked about how that one was so close to the ball crossing the line versus like this one where there's a solid 2 seconds before the ball crosses after he blows the whistle. Whereas the other one, it was like you almost want to go to VAR to see if the whistle was blown before or after the ball crossed the line, which that is fair. But you could never overturn this and say, yeah, this is a goal, because no matter how bad the referee messes up, as soon as the whistle blows, anything after that doesn't count.
Yep. Simply
Simply for the fact that obviously that's the whistle, but also the other team will not defend the same.
Some players change.
Yeah,
play
some
differently.
players are just like whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was gonna say I agree with you in terms of like there's so many times in those situations where the referee has the whistle in his mouth, and the second the defender wins a header or wins anything before it even leaves the area, like just when he sees a defender getting the head on the ball and it's moving that way, you hear the first of the three, because that's the other part of it too. Like there's the delay of like the three whistles. Where I feel like he blows the first one as I forget who crossed it. Was it Nacho?
Carvajal, I think.
Carvajal.
Yeah.
Like turns and he starts blowing that first one right when he's about to strike it. So then like you hear the second one while it's in the air, and then you hear the third one right before Jude heads it. So it's like technically the game's not over because like the third whistle hasn't been blown until like the ball is probably like right here and Jude then heads it in. Speaking of which, how is Jude always finding goals in the 99th, 100th minute all of the time?
I think he just waits at this point.
It's pretty impressive, but yeah, I would be fuming if I was a Real Madrid fan, and I understand the frustration because you can also see it from the other side of it with all the time wait or with the VAR check. Did they deserve an extra 30, 45 seconds?
Probably.
One could argue. Like it wouldn't be crazy.
No.
If they got it, and then to score and have it be so late where it wasn't like clear and obvious that all of the defenders had stopped playing, it does suck because it makes you feel as a player like that game was ripped away from you. But once the ref blew that first whistle, there's nothing you can do, I don't think.
Yeah. It's just the timing of it. Like you can't start blowing when the player's about to cross it. Blow it when the ball goes out of the box. Like by the time, like you said, it took him a few seconds to put it, to bring the whistle up. I don't know. That the whole thing is like Carvajal was literally crossing the ball in the motion of it. Why wait that extra? Like you saw the ball going out at least 3-4 seconds, and then you like take your time to blow the whistle.
He should have he should be blowing the whistle the moment that ball gets cleared out of the box.
Yep.
Not as soon as it's about to come back.
And then
in the
right
box.
when he gets the ball and turns, now it's like, okay, he crossed it and the game's already dead. Like, yeah, you could score. It looks. It also changed how it looks. The optics of it look way different because the players slow down, stop moving.
Carvajal wouldn't even attempt to cross the ball.
Right.
Or
He
like
just,
if
he would just kicked it into the stands.
Yeah, he would have kicked it in the stand. Or even if he does cross it, somebody from the other team would just grab it with their hand or something and just like, all right, game's over.
Right.
Like,
So-
that's the problem.
So this led to Jude Bellingham getting a red card because he goes straight up to the referee. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something pretty bad, and the referee gives him a straight red. I saw an article. I don't know if it's true or not because I didn't double check my sources.
Of course.
But it said that the referee has been suspended or will be suspended for his lack of management of the game, not because of the mistake or whether it was a mistake or not, but how he managed the game. After how he managed that whole situation.
I don't know how anyone manages like that. There's no chance you can manage that. I don't think.
I mean, and just say, look, I messed up.
Yeah.
That's or don't even say anything. Just walk away.
Well, you think they'll get Bellingham's red card will get overturned?
No.
I don't think so.
They'll have to serve the suspension
No, because
of what he said.
Because of what he said.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's a right call or wrong call, you can't say that to the referee. That has nothing to do with the bad call or
Listen,
whatever.
for somebody who's never got a yellow card for talking bad to the refs, I don't know what Jude is talking about. So
Georgie got accumulation of yellows in summer football.
Liquid football.
He got.
should we go back to that story?
You had to sit-
I've never got a yellow card my whole entire
to sit
career.
out.
It's not true.
I told him.
Dawson
I
sent us
told
the
him.
stat. I showed you the stat of
He
you with
knew-
the yellow
It's
card.
wrong.
He knew he had accumulation of yellow cards, and I told him, I was like, "Don't go in and do anything stupid because you get one more yellow card, you're sitting out." I don't even think I told you because I was just like, I'd expect you to know. I mentioned. I
I
said,
didn't argue.
I know, but it was a slide tackle.
It was a side tackle, and I didn't.
Yeah.
The guy kicked me.
But it doesn't. No.
It was.
no,
He
no,
kicked
no,
my
no,
face. Remember, he did the Maradona thing. He kicked my face.
No.
Even when the guy was like, "Wait, ref, no, he didn't touch me. He didn't touch me.
I
I
don't
kicked
remember,
him."
but I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
I have it on tape.
I'm pretty sure you fouled him.
Bet you do.
I
Pretty sure you fouled him. Anyway,
my own coach hates me.
so speaking about cards and referees, the moment that we've all been waiting for is Infantino, from the president of FIFA, has said that they are not going to do the blue cards.
Thank
Weren't they
God.
the ones testing it though?
No, Premier League.
Premier League was, yeah.
So the Premier. Oh, okay.
He says we won't have it at the most elite level, which means it won't be at the World Cup, but it could still be in the Premier League
in the FA Cup or League.
or
Well, yeah, 'cause he
Champions
can't control
League,
what they do
'cause
in
he
the Prem.
can't control
Yeah.
UEFA. He can't control the what is it, PFA?
Yeah.
Or
But that's weird
England?
because I thought So I thought that IFAB is the governing body. I thought they're the ones that do all these, make all these. Like you can't have blue cards in one league and no blue cards in another league.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
You have
Can you?
VAR.
I
in
think
one
the
league and you have-
IFAB.
No, but VAR
the
is
IFAB
a-
I think goes over like the Olympics and stuff, doesn't it?
I
Or
mean,
am
I don't know
crazy?
who's in charge of what, but you can.
Yeah,
one league
IFAB is like the no, I think it's for soccer, like specifically for football, but it's like it's in charge of the rules, the rule making. It's not like FIFA that'll host tournaments and things like that, but it's in charge of setting the standards and the guidelines for how the game is played in terms of like field sizes, field dimensions, 11v11, all that stuff. But anyway, I don't know what, there's a disconnect there. There's a little bit of a disconnect there. I just think it'd be very weird if one league has blue cards and one league doesn't have blue cards. I kind of get the VAR because that's not agree or disagree. That's, do we have enough money to institute VAR into this league and VAR into this league? That's why sometimes they don't have it, because you have to have an extra 4 or 5 referees in a VAR room plus the technology and all that stuff.
And the cameras and stuff. That's why they don't have it like,
Yeah.
as Pat McAfee calls concava.
Concava. So, so that's less about, that's just more like a resource thing. Like, oh, we just don't have the budget or whatever. But the card is just,
You can't afford blue cards.
can't afford blue cards. They're expensive.
That's spray
Thank
paint.
God. That's such. I hope it's not anywhere, because we'll literally be talking about blue cards the whole entire podcast, every single podcast.
Do you guys ever play a game with blue cards back in the day?
I played in indoor.
Yeah, indoor, the blue card. Because that's the only, I remember it was the same premise, I think,
2
to a
minutes.
degree. Yeah, 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something in the box.
Like
Blue cards. I got an accumulation. So when I studied abroad in Mexico, we would always play with like our Mexican family. Like they would rent off like a little soccer, like a field. And me and my buddy, we both played college soccer. And they're like, oh, you Americans are actually pretty good. We were not expecting that. Do you want to like play in our league during the week? So we started playing with them in the league. And I remember our first game in the league, I got too many blue cards. One of which was for like a stiff arm to the face of somebody.
I'll do it.
Yeah, and then I forget what the other one was. And then I got a red card. 2 blue cards turned into a red. I got sent off in my Mexican
Debut.
Liga MX's debut.
Like, damn it, these damn Americans.
Yeah, we
So-
weren't invited back after that.
Yeah, it's I think the difference between VAR and the blue cards, which would be a problem, is that VAR has enough success for them to defend it so that they can keep it. Because a lot of people said, oh, you know what, get rid of VAR, get rid of VAR. I think they're like, you know what, VAR ultimately does more good than it does bad.
Yep.
The blue cards, however, I think will just cause so much damn confusion that they're not going to be able to defend it properly. They're not going to say like, oh yeah, it's actually worked out to keep fouls like less fouls and less tactical fouls and less talk to the referees and things like that. I think they'll just be so confused because the referees are already having a hard enough time to figure out what a red card is, what a handball is, and all that stuff, that they would not be able to defend it. And at one point they'd just be like, you know what, they're right. As stupid as we look, we probably shouldn't go through with this.
Yeah, because it's one like it's all views. You might think it's a blue card. I might not.
Yeah.
How are you gonna they have enough craziness to worry about that they can't handle right now. So
Yeah.
imagine a blue card in the middle of a game. Again, you have 4 players from each team just sitting out. What are you gonna have?
That, and again, there's like a lot of weird situations, like the goalkeeper getting a blue card. What happens then?
No.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of situations that you just you're really screwing the game up.
Plus,
Plus,
can you sub someone out when they're like sitting out with a blue card? So like if you're a coach and you're going to sub someone
does that person have
in the
to wait 10 minutes?
65th minute, now do I have to wait? Or can I make the sub and then the person I was going to sub on goes on after? Or like how does it, like?
And also, you got to think like everybody's saying how Pep's teams are the masters of tactical fouls, and Pep always says no, we don't do tactical fouls. There's nothing to it. So it just depends on whose opinion you're looking at.
Yeah.
So you can't. If it's not black or white, if it's not offside or not, and it's 100% yes or no, you can't put extra cards to add more confusion to everything else. It would
Agreed.
just be
So that's good news. That's good news coming out of FIFA president, the least corrupt man in sports.
Sports today.
So we'll see if they change that. But they're still, I guess, they're still trialing it in like lower leagues.
Until somebody gives him like 50 million, and he's like, oh, you know, blue cards are pretty
Blue
good.
cards are in.
Yeah.
So wild card segment. Let's go wild card segment. Last bit.
Let's do it.
Who right now is the best player in the Premier League?
That is easy for me. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, but
He has been good lately.
I mean, look at what he's done so far to start the season. Or start the year. I mean, not
Yeah.
the season. Start the year. Starting 2024.
What was the stat that you?
Oh, yeah. 210 games.
210
In his
games.
first 210 appearances, he has more goal contributions than Cristiano Ronaldo did at Manchester United.
And why the
Then
10? Why the last 10?
the stats only work at 210 instead of 200 because of how great he's been since the start of the new year. I think Arsenal's been on a tear to start the new year. I think he's been a huge catalyst to that. The time that they spent in where was it, Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia?
With Salt Bay.
With Salt Bay. Yep. Ever since
That's boy.
that stake at Salt Bay, Arsenal's been able to score. And I mean, Saka's just been running rampant, and I think it's all starting with him. The other people I thought of, Phil Foden was one, and Ivan Toney was the other. Because since he's come back, he has
That's flawed. You can't do that.
he has scored consistently.
Because he's an Arsenal target.
No,
That's why.
No, I mean you can't. He hasn't played half the year.
Right now,
Yeah.
right now.
But like,
The question
the
is, who's
best
the
player
hottest
in the
right now?
Yeah.
Since he's come back, he's been one of the best. Since he came back, he's been one of the best players in the league.
All right. Who do you got, Georgie?
there's only one answer.
Oh my God.
There's only one right answer here. No, Phil Foden is one right now. The whole entire season, not even just right now. The whole entire season, since the beginning, he's been carrying Man City this season. Him and Rodri have been absolute tear. But
To be fair, Nunez is not a bad shout. The way he's been playing.
I wasn't going to say Nunes. But Nunes is. By the way,
I thought he was going to say.
wait, I'm going to get to Nunes in a second because you
we already
reminded me.
did your rant.
No. When it's not a rant, it's factual. Anyway, Van Dijk.
So the other one.
He's been back to his like best. He's the best center back to ever play in the Premier League. Best center back in the world right now. It's obvious to me.
Fair.
Wow. I was gonna say Van Dijk. I actually think the dude has everything. You can't beat him. He's been legit.
Yeah.
However, as good as he's been, I think you could say that Saliba's been just as good. Honestly, like
This season?
bullshit
Yeah.
to the side. Arsenal's defense, him and Gabriel,
No, they
have been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think Saliba's slightly better than Gabriel. I think Saliba's legit.
I like Saliba better than Gabriel.
I think Saliba is literally very close to Van Dijk right now.
If he continues on this trend, I think he can overtake Van Dijk. And be one
Saliba
of the
and
best.
Konate are
Get the
and
hell
then
out of
Van
here.
Dijk.
Get
Konate's
the
good though.
hell out of
Konate's
Konate's legit. I think Konate's
done
one.
Konate's great.
Yeah.
But I actually will. I'll choose a different Liverpool player
Oh my God.
right now. Kelleher.
Yeah.
Keller he's made some saves that I honestly think if Alisson didn't have the years of what he's done at Liverpool,
Greatness.
yeah, it'd be very hard for him to get back into the team with Kelleher right now. Kelleher has made some, not just good saves, like game-saving saves, and super calm, super relaxed. He's been good with his feet. I think the last few, just basing it off of the last 3 games, I think Kelleher's been fantastic.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see because Alisson's going to be out for a while. It seems like.
Yeah.
I don't think they set a time.
He might miss the rest of the season. Who knows?
So he's going to be out for a while. And Kelleher, I
Perfect
I
time.
thought that it was going to be a huge drop off.
Yeah.
I didn't know Kelleher was this good.
Amrabat. Manchester United having a nightmare.
Terrible
Oh, yeah.
play. I mean, you can't really tell.
But
He
Phil
had a good one.
Foden, the reason why I brought this question was because Guardiola said Phil Foden is the best player in the Premier League right now. Just crazy in that team, Phil Foden. And Phil Foden, I remember when they won the league, I can't remember how long ago it was now, 6-7 years ago maybe. He was one of those players that needed, you know how in order to get a medal at the end, you have to play a certain amount of games. They don't just give it to everyone on the squad. And I think that game, I don't know what that is, like 10 games or something like that. Maybe less probably. I remember they had to win that game, and they were talking about trying to do it so that they could get some playing time for those guys. And Phil Foden was one of those players that they're like, they were excited that they managed to get him onto the field so that he could also get his medal, because that was his first season of contributing to the team.
It's wild to think he's been around for so long. Well, it's also, so we're up making the argument of like who's the best in the league right now. Phil Foden, we've talked about soccer, we've talked about both English. I think we'd all agree that Bellingham's the best player in Spain right now. Vinny, you could argue, I guess. Declan Rice is also doing amazing. Euros are coming up. I know it's not in the wild card segment. How far does England go with these players who are coming into those prime years of their career? They've been playing at top clubs now for a decent amount of time. They've had some World Cup experience. They've had some Euro experience. They made it to the finals, I believe, of the last Euro. Lost to Italy in pens at Wembley. Is this the time where England brings home a trophy, or do they somehow bottle it? And if they do, who takes it?
I don't know. I will have to see the teams.
Yeah, we're still a little far. Yeah,
because like one injury,
we are 3 months away.
One injury, just like Declan Rice gets hurt, that changes your whole team.
I'm just curious to see who he's going to put, because that for me is going to be whether he keeps his job or not, regardless of what they do.
Because like you have to start Saka, you'd assume you have to start Foden.
Like if he puts Henderson
and Calvin Phillips as your sixes, and then plays Jude as a 10, it's like, what are we doing?
And Harry Maguire as your center back.
Yeah.
Oh, the Harry Maguire is different though, because you don't. What other English?
John Stones,
Eric Dyer, John Stones, Ben White.
I would not play.
Ben White's been playing outside back though, so I wonder if he's.
Well, but he hasn't even. Ben White hasn't been making the squad.
Yeah, I would not bring Eric Dyer to Euros.
I wouldn't either. So yeah, I mean Harry Maguire's more so like who else do we have, right?
Yeah.
But
I would rather play Ben White as center back.
Braithwaite from
Harry
Everton's pretty good. Braithwaite, he's really good, but I don't know.
I'm curious to see what he does lineup wise, because if he puts Jude Bellingham and he puts Phil Foden and he puts Saka and he puts all these players that most people would agree.
James Maddison's also playing amazing.
James Maddison. If he puts all these players on the field, Declan Rice, and they don't get to, let's say they don't win it, he probably keeps his job, to be honest.
But you're saying if they don't win it and he plays Calvin Phillips,
you're out.
Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. I guess not Luke Shaw as much, but
the only way he keeps his job is if they win it with those players, in my opinion. But
if they don't win, who wins? Because I would assume England has to be one of the. I guess France and England are your clear-cut favorites. They have to be, right?
But England's always a favorite, and they never win it. Every single time it's England.
It's
we have the best.
Hyped up, and I think they just don't mesh together when they come. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how. I don't know. That's a tough one. I would like England to win. That would be nice. But
I don't know.
All right.
There might be like Chelsea.
When we get a little
dodge
closer,
the question. All right, good job.
They remind me of Chelsea. Like all this hype, all the players together, like supposedly stars, and then when it comes to the big stage, a lot of the time, you just get let down.
They'll get far, but then I think they'll lose in the semis.
Okay.
I just don't know who else. Like France, Portugal, probably not.
Portugal are decent, but
Portugal are decent because they'll have Bernardo Silva, they'll have Ruben Diaz, they'll have Joao Felix, they'll have some good players.
Cristiano,
Leao for Portugal as well.
Yeah. But France is probably a little bit more of a safer bet to me.
Yeah. Fair. All
right. You guys got anything else?
Yes.
What do you got? Oh, another rant. 30 more minutes. Let's go.
Darwin Núñez has the most winning goals this season than anybody else.
Interesting.
Clutch.
Yeah.
Darwin 99.
Darwin 99. Chomakov 99. Fucking
match
two
made
man
in
buns.
heaven.
Fucking hell.
Good stat. Listen.
the man.
At the end of the day, Darwin Núñez is performing, and you are. I'm going to give you the credit, Georgie. I'm going to give you the credit. You have been one of the few people that have completely backed him this whole way. Like you doubled down at times where I thought you were gonna start being like, hey, yeah, you guys are right. He hasn't been performing. You doubled down. So
You hear that, Darwin?
Massive
I doubled
respect
down
to
for you,
you.
man.
I didn't think he was as good at now. I think he's he's a little bit more comfortable. I think he realizes he could play this level, so I think he's performing really well, and he's the best side of him is coming out. So I gave you shit most of the time, just because it was like, why not? Here's the perfect opportunity to give Georgie shit. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he has been, so I was wrong. Ladies and gentlemen. I'll be honest.
Noted.
Is this the
Noted.
last
I was
podcast
wrong.
ever?
March 4th,
I was wrong, but listen, Georgie
12:06 a.m.
says the same thing over and over about all these players.
Who? Bobby
He's
Firmino.
like, oh, this guy's really good. This guy's really
Yeah.
good. And then later, when they become good, he's like, oh, I said, yeah, because you say everyone's really good. But what about all the...
Who in this podcast? Who have I said that was a good player that did not turn out good?
Carvalho?
Carvalho is the only one, but he's still he's scoring goals in the championship. He's just not a club player.
I know, but if he would have been really good, you would have been like, oh, I
And
told you guys.
He's
I
also
told
like
you guys
18.
he's really good.
Well, of course. That's like you can't say anything. You say Haaland's gonna score goals. No, obviously everybody in the whole world knew Haaland's gonna score goals.
It wasn't crazy. Like, it wasn't like not crazy. It wasn't like a super safe thing to say that Haaland was going to break records. I said he was going to break records. I said he was going to get more than 30 goals in his first season. And I said it wasn't even going to be close between him and the second place person. That is not a safe thing to say regardless. And he did it. And I was right.
Nah, you guys are both twats. You and Haaland.
All right. Make sure you guys follow us. Make sure you guys follow us
No, not you.
on all the
and
social
Javi.
media channels at the NGW Podcast on the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok.
Wait. I still have not seen the Facebook.
There's a Facebook. Look it up. Next Goal Wins Podcast.
All right, I'll have
Look
to
it up. I haven't updated it in forever.
So there is no Facebook. No.
There's a Facebook.
Don't go on Facebook.
And as we get closer to, we got to do something cool for the 50th episode, though, for real.
Wait. We can't finish the episode
Why not?
before. Arsenal play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Predictions. Sheffield,
Well,
Arsenal.
by the time this gets uploaded, Arsenal will have already played.
Yeah.
3-0 Arsenal. Nope. Yeah, 3-0 because we're away.
6-1.
Okay.
6-1 Arsenal. It's not crazy. We're playing at Sheffield United, and our last few
Yeah.
results have been pretty big
That
numbers.
is true. That is true.
So
We're flying.
we
You
are
guys are fine.
flying.
All right. So 6-1 and 3-0. Okay. No, you said what? What'd you say?
I said 3-0.
3-0.
So I'll cancel this upload if my score is really, really off.
He'll just
Yeah.
re-record this part.
This is the forecast.
Football forecast, baby. We're bringing it back.
Make sure you guys follow us on all the social media channels at the NGW Podcast. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.